So thank you to our clerk for tallying our results. As a reminder, before we hear the results, that none of the dot placement is going to create any action. We will need to do anything by motion with any of the with any of the proposals when we get to that part of the agenda. This is purely for information gathering. Clerk, do you mind please sharing with us the results? And it looks like they will be up on the screen as well.
Yes, correct. So C1 received 14 dots. Proposal C2 received 7 dots. Proposal C6 received 0 dots. Proposal C7R received 1 dot. Proposal C8R received 8 dots. Proposal C11 received 2. Proposal C13 received 6. Proposal C18 received 19. Proposal C20 received 18. Proposal C23 received 5. Proposal C25 received 14. Proposal C28 received 22. Proposal C29 received 17. Proposal C30 received 13. Proposal C31 received 7. Proposal C32 received 34. Proposal C36 received 8. Proposal C40 received 5. Proposal O1 received 5. And proposal O2 received 5 for a total of 210 dots, which equates the number of commissioners.
Thank you so much, and thank you for that work you're counting and creating a document on the fly so that we can all see it. And I believe there's a request to send it out to the commissioners, so if you can do that, Kitty, we would really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so that will move us on to public comment for this evening. Everyone who is interested in giving public comment, hopefully you have signed in on our sheet and indicated yes. If you have not indicated yes, I will not call on your name because you did not tell me that you would like to give public comment tonight. I do want to share that public engagement is a crucial component of our process, and we want to hear from the community as we prepare to take action on the remaining proposals. To ensure all members of the public are able to make their comments and to be consistent with our procedures or our posted rules of engagement, I request that side conversations be taken out of the room, all comments be directed to the commission as a whole, not individual commissioners, and that the audience refrain from clapping or other forms of expression of agreement or disagreement. As a reminder, the process or the purpose of the Charter Review Commission is to review the charter and propose amendments that will be on the ballot in November for all registered voters of Pierce County to vote for or against. This body does not have the power to make final decisions about what is or what is not in the charter. Additionally, our work will conclude on June 30th. Each person will have 2 minutes to share their comments. Time may not be donated to another speaker, and comments must pertain specifically to proposals that are pending before this commission. Please state the proposal or proposals being addressed and direct your comments to those items, as opposed to general comments related to the commission's process. As a reminder, the remaining proposals in order of intake are C1, C2, C6, C7R, C8R, C11, C13, C18, C20, C23, C25, C28, C29, C30, C31, C32, C36, C40, O1, and O2. The complete text of all of these proposals are in the published packets, and there are some copies in the room as well. Public comments might be informed by the dot exercise that we just participated in, but those, again, are not prioritizations or any sort of action being taken. That will have to happen formally by the commission. So, for public comment for tonight, everyone who comes up, please, thank you so much. State your name as well as the proposals that you will be speaking to. I will call the first person and then the next couple of people just so that everyone can kind of be ready for their turn. And with that, we will start with Judge Joseph Evans, followed by Chris Gaddis, and then Carlos Scott.
Hello, I've already spoken to you, so my name is Judge Evans. I wanted to let you know there was this comment about us not appearing originally. Traditionally, it is correct. We generally do not appear at the Charter Review Commission. The reason for that is most of our authority and most of the rules governing us come from the legislature. For instance, in regards to juvenile court, it's governed by 1304, RCW. That's what delegates the authority for us to run the juvenile court and for us to run the detention center. The second comment I would make is this. My understanding is there's a belief that this proposal will help with some pending litigation that is ongoing. Let me just tell you that that's actually not accurate. All the litigation that is ongoing right now is from the latest is 2015 and before. What I can tell you is that 2/3 of our bench took the bench in 2020 or after. Most of our bench is rather new and younger, and we pay a lot of attention to all of the things all of the time. We have been extremely involved in everything going on in juvenile court, and that is why we have restructured it. Our intention is to make sure that that court and that detention center are ran correctly at all times. And frankly, since we have taken over, we have made that our concerted effort to make sure that all proper procedures have been followed. I understand that there's some belief that there are ongoing issues. What I can tell you is that is not actually accurate. The only ongoing issue that we currently have at Raymond Hall is that we have a very old facility that frankly is falling apart. And because of that, we have issues regarding what our general capacity is and what the maintenance is, but we do not have ongoing issues regarding anything that endangers children. So I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Gaddis, followed by Carlos Scott and Jeff Jensen.
Good evening, everyone. Chris Gaddis, I'm the court executive for Superior and Juvenile Courts. I would just add to Judge Evans' statements, when a lot of the issues that arose at juvenile court, the population in detention was upwards of 160 people, youth that were detained. As Judge Evans mentioned earlier, last Thursday we had 11. The Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative, PREA investigations or the PREA standards that have been instituted have created an absolute sea change in the way that juvenile court functions, how we supervise, how we care for the youth that are in our custody. So it is a completely different world out there at juvenile court now than when most of those lawsuits originated. So it is a different world, and I would echo that the entire bench has an incredible interest in making sure that juvenile court runs smoothly and effectively for the youth that are there and for the families that are involved. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Carlos Scott, Jeff Jensen, and Devin Fawcett.
Carlos Scott, District 5. Please read my full written comments. Here's my 2-minute summary speaking to all the amendments. Stop dividing us. We are Americans, not skin color or green hair color. If you only care about getting attention for your cause, then that is all you'll ever get. The only way to represent all citizens is to establish basic common sense rules and values that we can all agree on. Rules that honor human life and property. It is hypocrisy to force your way of life on all of us. We are all equal at birth, but our life choices decide how we contribute to our world. We need values and standards that we can all live by. A lifestyle that unites us, not divides us. No rules, no accountability. California, Minnesota, New York, Maine, New Jersey. This is what they want. No more American values, standards, or moral ethics. They want to destroy everything that America stands for. A perfect example is New York's response to the Knicks NBA championship win. Is that what Americans do? Is that who Americans are? Is that what Americans want? If it is, I'm ashamed to be an American. I do not want law enforcement to give in to these behaviors. Every time that we loosen the rules or allow small groups to control the behavior, we lose. We lose financially, emotionally, and environmentally. Let's look at it differently. What is gained by less rules and less accountability? Have you raised children? Did you have rules, or did you let them do whatever they wanted? If they wanted to light your house on fire, did you give them permission by not stopping them? Did your school have rules, or were you allowed to hit the teacher? Did you serve in the military? Oh, they have rules. Far better men than you risk their lives to create what is now being threatened. Thank you.
Jeff Jensen, Devin Fawcett, and then I believe Colleen Muse. I'm very sorry, the last bit I couldn't read particularly well.
Hello, my name is Jeff Jensen, District 2, unincorporated Pierce County. Note to C30, Sheriff Ombuds, put the money to better use. Note to C1, appoint sheriff qualifications for appointment. The Washington Criminal Justice Training Commission already does that. Again, put the money to better use. And C25, 4-year financial outlook. No to C36, modernization of anti-discrimination language. I will join with Keith Swain on this one, and it was not hate speech, common sense. C40, suspensions and acting officials. C11, consistent term limits for elected positions. Think about that one again. Save the money. To the elected people of this charter review, think strong. The Constitution and Declaration of the United States of America was formed by strong-minded leaders and is being protected by the will of the people. Happy birthday, 250 years later. If we raise strong-minded kids, that's the only chance for America, home of the brave. Remember this, June 20th, Saturday, 3 to 5 p.m. at the Pierce County Library, Spanaway Parkland, address 13718 Pacific Avenue South. Tacoma Sheriff Keith Swain will be ready to meet with you, answer your questions. You are not going to get this service with a appointed sheriff unless, well, there is no unless. Thank you for the strong ones of this charter.
Thank you. Devin Fawcett, Colleen, and then Delaney McGee. I'm sorry, I get a little off.
Hi there. Devin Fawcett, District 4. Thank you for taking comment today. I'm a veteran who'd like to take a moment to speak about a dangerous demographic that is poisoning the blood of our country. They infect our communities, they bring in drugs, they bring in crime, they're rapists, and some I assume are good people. These people are radical extremists who want to ruin the America that I signed up to serve. They worship a slaver's god, and many rally under the flag of an illegitimate terrorist nation that killed more than 100,000 U.S. troops. Conservatism is a blight on our democracy. Anyways, I'm just here to express support for C30, the creation of a sheriff ombuds to keep our government accountable to the people the way America should be. Additionally, I encourage anyone who believes that their God supports hateful rhetoric towards the LGBTQ community to schedule a meeting with them tonight and find out for yourself. Thanks.
Thank you. Colleen, and I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's Colleen Wise. I ran out of space.
Thank you.
Colleen Wise, District 2. I was in District 1 for a long time and I'm having trouble learning District 2. So my comments, I want to first of all thank you all for being here. You're probably all done, tired, and ready to go home and quit this stuff. I sure was when you were going until 1 o'clock in the morning and 10:30. I have a surprise meeting on Saturday, even though you announced it ahead of time. Already had plans for my grandson's graduation. Shame on you, I couldn't attend. Anyway, for this, I'm going to tell you that C1 is a no. I'm going to just walk right down the list so you can just check them off as you go. C2 is a no. C6 is a yes. I'll turn the paper, try to do this in 2 minutes. 7R no. 8R no. 11R no. Question mark on rules of procedure. I'm not sure what you meant by that. I've read it a couple times and I'm going to just let you go with that. Juvenile detention oversight. Thank you for the legal system that judges that were here today, and that is a no.
The other thing I'll note on that is there's no fiscal notes on any of your stuff. You don't say how much it's going to cost. The attorney told you on one issue to drop it because it was policy, not procedure. And again, the document's supposed to be procedure, not policy. And so when you have these policies running around, it gets a little crazy to figure it out. Let's see, 20 was yes, 23 yes, 25 yes. Let's see, no on 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 was a yes, no on 36, no on 40. I had a question mark on 01 and a no on 02. You don't need an omnibus, you're talking about extra money. I don't remember if you were doing the, increasing the number of council members, and I remember reading you wanted to go from 21 to 27 people on this commission. You can't get it done with 21. How did you think you were going to get it done with 27? So that would be off the table. I just say that there's a lot that you need to get done. Thank you.
Thank you. Delaney McLaughlin, I'm very sorry. And then Sheila Wynn and Mike Smith. Or sorry, not Laura Lee will do this.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm speaking in opposition to Proposal C-36, the so-called modernization of the anti-discriminatory language. While every person deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, respect cannot be mandated through compelled speech. I'm concerned with the potential for this framework to gradually influence or pressure language in public and institutional settings. There is a risk that individuals could be treated as engaging in discriminatory behavior simply for using factual or biological terminology, such as referring to sex in terms of male and female, rather than using preferred identity-based language in every context. Even if that is not the intent of this proposal, I worry about the precedent it sets and the door it may open for labeling certain forms of speech as discriminatory. There's a growing tendency to prioritize feelings and subjective perceptions over objective facts and open debate within our society. Feelings are important, but public policy must be based on principles that can be applied consistently and fairly to everyone. Acts like this should protect from discrimination, not move towards regulating speech, compelling language, or creating expectations that people must adopt specific terminology or beliefs in order to avoid social or government consequences, which is what I fear this would do in its current form. A free society protects the rights of individuals to speak, disagree, and debate openly. This principle is not only constitutional, it is fundamentally American.
Thank you. Sheila Wynn, and then Laura Lee, and Keith Swank.
Sheila Wynn, District 5. Pierce County may have a problem, but the United States has a problem too. As Lord Acton said, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. He was referring to the Catholic Church. I'm going to name a few names here of some powerful people in Pierce County and Tacoma that allow themselves to be corrupted. Absolutely. Pierce County Sheriff George Janovich, 1978. He was nominated, or whatever, however you want to call it, and then he was also captured for racketeering. Tacoma Police Chief David Brang, one I will never forget, murdered his wife in a parking lot and then killed himself in front of their kids. He was the Tacoma Police Chief. Absolute power. Wonderful, isn't it? Pierce County Sheriff Ed Troyer, 2022. So a lot of weird stuff going on with that one. And apparently he was harassing somebody and for their color. I guess considered racial profiling. I don't know what the legal exact term was for what he was prosecuted under, but he had to resign. Major Chad Dickerson, Chief Investigative Officer at the Sheriff's Department in Pierce County, was arrested for DUI He injured 6 people in Graham. In April 26, 2026, he was convicted of, and he admitted to the DUI. He retired November 1st, 2025. I say all this because, damn it,
Thank you for your
oversight is
time.
needed. Oversight is needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lori Lee, Keith Swank, and Linda Lau. Lori Lee. All right, so on to Keith Swank and then Linda Lau and Nikki Burke.
Keith Swank, District 3. Tonight I'll be speaking about C36, modernization of anti-discrimination language. C36 will be weaponized against people like me. I spoke to this body last Monday, exercising my First Amendment right, and the following day, 2 people who didn't like what I said filed a complaint with the Criminal Justice Training Commission to have them decertify me and told them to remove me from office. You see, that's what the left does when they want to silence their opposition. However, I welcome these complaints. I look forward to these complaints going the whole way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought I'd speak some more normal language. I hope you guys want to hear what I say so that people who file complaints against me can file a couple more. I'm proud that I have more complaints than any other officer or sheriff in the state. So, instead of saying transgender woman, say man. Instead of saying gay, say homosexual. Instead of reality challenge, say insane, crazy, wacky. Instead of unschooled, just say stupid. Dishonest means liar. Undocumented immigrant, that's an illegal alien. Instead of protester, say terrorist. Instead of larger size or plus size, just say fat, obese, or huge. Let's bring these boards back. Climate change is a man-made hoax. Let's make housewives great again. Let's call radical leftists what they really are. They're racist, Nazis, and fascists. My truth really means my lie. Justice involved persons means inmate, dirtball, ex-con, use those words. And when someone says something really dumb while they're trying to insult you, call them a moron, an imbecile, or a retard. I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I think I'm being sold down the river.
Next we have Linda Lau, Vicki Burke, and
Hello, Linda Lau, District 4. Glad to be here. Thank you guys for being here. It can't be easy, I get it. Today I'm speaking, of course, no on C1 because I love Keith Swank because I just love authenticity. I want to know how everybody's thinking all the time. I don't like sneaky stuff. I worked as a chaplain in the jail for 8 years, like I said, full-time. And I mentored 1,000 girls, and probably 999 were homosexuals. Oh, well, I mean, I love everybody, right? It doesn't matter. What I don't love is what they're doing right now in the schools, because my paid job is I work in 21 school districts for the last 23 years. So I see everything that's happening inside the schools as far as the indoctrination. That's what gets me. You look on our Pierce County website, and they have all these ads for all these people to come in and get what they want, get free. Everything's free. Everything's free. Somehow we have all this money that we're just willing to give away to everybody for free. We're talking $300 million, right, for the Catholic charity down the street that doesn't say that you can come there whatever you want. They can get you everything you want. They have $181 million in assets that we purchased with our tax dollars, but they get to keep the buildings, okay? So you're talking about 6,700 employees that work there. I mean, it's overwhelming about them, taking children, what they're doing right now with the kids and hiding them. And they're giving them, you probably already know this, but right now we have spent we spend right now $80 million just on trans children. Okay? Did you hear me? That's under 18. $80 million a year. So we're indoctrinating them, kidnapping them, their parents don't know, and then we're expecting them to turn out normal, and then Keith has to rule them. What kind of sense does that make? Our children are our future.
Thank you. Vicky Burke, followed by, I think, I'm sorry, got kind of scribbly. Last name, Tamon.
Hi, I'm Vicki Burke, District 2. I am in support of all oversight committees in all spaces. As a person who has worked in many trades, there are protections in so many places that maybe you may not all realize. And when I worked in a hospital, there was joint commission. That hospital didn't function without their accreditation. Nursing home that I worked for, there was ombudsman for seniors, okay? Construction, which I'm currently in that trade, it's OSHA and WISHA, you know? Bars, I worked in that field too. There's the health department and the Washington State Liquor Board. I have my concerns about any department of government who does not want to have an oversight committee. That's scary to me, and anyone wants to covet all that information, that should be terrifying to each and every one of us. As for my next thing, I'd like to say that as a young person, I was a Girl Scout for 13 years and a leader for 3. In that opportunity, I had, at 13 years old, I held a job with Washington State and as a caregiver for an adult alcoholic who was paraplegic. I was cleaning her up. She called me when she was drunk, but at 13, I had the Constitution, the ability to help this woman for 2 years. So when I see someone like the Youth Commission that so many people are against, if you put people in adult situations, they're going to thrive. You're only as good as your competition. So if you continue to stifle children and keep them down here, this is where they're going to land. It's just like, sorry, I'm not a big fan of the gentle parenting thing, so either. I'm a little bit of a tough accountability person, and I made my kids accountable, and those kids have grown up very, very well. But I just think there's so many spaces that we need to raise the bar and where we at. I was class of 79, Dow Constantine was 1980, and I wish we had a youth board when we were there, because look what he's done. Thank you.
Last name, Tamon. I'm so sorry, I could not read the last couple letters. And then Ken Paulson and Jeff Joseph.
Hi, my name is Vicky Tomorrow. I live in District 4. I support amendments C1, 2, 7R, 8R, 18, 29, 30, and 36. I want to use my time to address questions of costs that would be incurred in proposals that require a new county employee, like funds for C30, or coordination for admission like C29. I can share that the intended short-term increased cost to implement these amendments is to offset and ultimately reduce the soaring costs of county-wide insurance that we've been paying to the tune of $7,883,220 for 2026 alone, and in 2027 will increase to almost $8.3 million. That doesn't include the insurance we pay just for the Sheriff's Office, which would be over $2 million for 2027. Then there are the greatly increased legal claims and litigation expenses that were around $3.5 million in 2021. But in 2025 was over 5 times that amount at $18,743,301. But I would argue that even if we do the math and find the return on investment was worth the cost, there'll just be another argument or complaint, because ultimately it really isn't about the cost, but who receives, aka deserves any benefit. This is a system working by design. We're weakest when we're exhausted, angry, and divided. It wants us to believe that there are people who are deserving and those who are not. The crazy part about it is, if we put that belief aside, we wouldn't have to waste any of our own time or emotion worrying about who is worthy or not. We could take that same amount of energy by working collectively and make things better for everyone. My family pays 1.13% in property taxes. We benefit directly with great schools, roads, amazing resources like libraries and parks. We love the cultural and economic diversity of Pierce County that those taxes support. Diversity adds both complexity and richness to lives in society. Our communities need deep healing. All humans, no matter what color, gender, expression, or religion, should feel connected, empowered, and safe. Let's value humans more than property. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, apologies for not being able to read particularly well tonight. Ken Paulson, Jeff Joseph, and then Janine Brashears.
Paulson, District 4. Based on the count on the green dots, I'm against C1, 18, 20, 29, and 30. If I was a leftist, communist, socialist, Marxist, I'd be jumping up and down. We're gonna get stuff on the ballot that stupid voters might pass. The executive gets to control a whole mess of everything. But I'm not that. I don't want the executive overreaching. I want the sheriff to do law and order. Some people don't like that. I mean, we've seen that in other states. Actually, I went to a Tacoma police chief several years ago and said, hey, there's a drug house right over there. He didn't want to know the address. I said, get it. That was an appointed police chief. Probably was told not to do law and order. I don't know. I call them appointed flunkies. People don't like that. I also call drugged up pedestrians, but maybe I'm going to, by law, have to call them sidewalk fairy dancers on pills. I don't know. Thank you.
Jeff Joseph, Janine Brashears, and then Emily Anderson.
I'm Jeff Joseph, District 5, here to talk about C2, C1, C29, and 30. C2 is not about intergovernmental cooperation. It is about the exact opposite of cooperation. It is simply trying to ensure that there is no option for the county to cooperate on one single issue, apprehending and removing people who have entered the United States illegally. It is a policy question, not a former charter issue. That should be the end of the conversation. It shouldn't be considered. The reference to the 10th Amendment is completely mischaracterized, as the 10th Amendment only clarified that states have the exclusive right to deal with matters not specifically enumerated in the United States Constitution. As a policy, it is dangerous to everyone involved: law enforcement, federal and local, those being arrested for their crime, and bystanders. This policy is also promoted by the same people who didn't learn from their parents not to attempt to impede law enforcement in the exercise of their work. Cooperation is a good thing between governmental agencies, especially if it makes citizens safer. This measure tries to enact a policy that creates more risk for everyone. It should not be advanced. C1. Look, it's simple. Kings appoint, democracies elect. We need to elect a sheriff. It's not just we made a good choice this time, it's our choice to make. C29. Some of the support of this sounds very heartfelt and reasonable.
I think your mic has stopped, so you, I think, well, it was 33 seconds.
Thank you. C29.
Hang on.
Oh,
sorry. You need to reset your time. Thank you.
C29 again. Sounds good. In reality, having King Ryan appoint 21 kids is not going to be representative of the 140,000 young people as was defined by the proponents of this amendment. 18-year-olds can vote. So now the only kids we're talking about are 14 through 17. Every single school that I've ever heard of has student government. There is nothing preventing kids from studying what goes on in our government, nothing preventing them from attending meetings. C30, thinly veiled effort to attack our sheriff.
Thank you for your time. All right, Janine Brashears, Emily Anderson, and then Eric Burkhead.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Janine Brashears. I'm in District 1. Amendment C1, I'll speak to the sheriff's certification portion of that tonight. It should be removed from the items to be selected for a vote to change the Pierce County Charter. I read an article written by Senator Jessica Bateman recently on Senate Bill 5974, which is basically what the language on this amendment is crafted after. The prime sponsor, in that article, the prime sponsor of that bill said, SB 5974 is about public safety, ensuring that everyone with the power to detain, arrest, or use deadly force is well-trained, highly prepared, and professional. The prime sponsor has been in the legislature over 20 years and was sheriff himself from 2007 to 2013. But it wasn't until 2021 and his first bill that he introduced that got passed into law that year was making pickleball the official sport of Washington State. He's introduced now Senate Bill 5068, which went into effect in March. This law, as legislation, was titled An Act Relating to Agencies, Firefighters, Prosecutors, and General or Limited Law Enforcement, Extending Eligibility for Employment to all U.S. citizens or persons legally authorized to work in the U.S. under federal law. So now we like federal law. It, quote, adds a new section to the RCW, creating a new section and declaring an emergency. So who are we talking about? The U.S. Citizens Immigration Services website tells us asylees, refugees, DACA recipients, certain parolees, and those with temporary protected status can apply for employment authorization. The Secretary of Homeland Security, after reviewing country conditions and consulting with the appropriate U.S. government agencies, determined that the following countries no longer met conditions for this designation: Lebanon, Haiti, Honduras, Nicaragua, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Venezuela. And a note, judges around the country have denied these terminations or extended their temporary protected status. C1 should be removed from consideration. Thank you.
Next we have Emily Anderson, Eric Burkhead, and then Ian Armstrong.
Let me go with it first.
Some work? Emily Anderson, District 1. I'm speaking today in opposition of C1, Appointed Sheriff, opposition of C2, Intergovernmental Cooperation, opposition of C29, Young Persons Commission, and opposition of C30, Sheriff Ombuds. I came across an interesting video today. It was of a Killala County Charter Review Commissioner, a gay Charter Review Commissioner. He pointed out that there were 3 Charter Review Commissioners that were endorsed by Indivisible. We have 12 commissioners on this commission endorsed by Indivisible. He said they love gays and their rights, and everyone is equal and tolerant, and we are all respectful and diverse in diversity. But as soon as I started bringing items to the Charter Review Commission as a Charter Review Commissioner for my constituents, items that they cared about, those 3 who were on the executive committee refused to put them on the agenda, refused to let me have discussion of them. They completely threw Robert's rules out the window, completely stripped me of my right to free speech and stripped my right to represent my constituents and stripped their right to be represented. Kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it? Kind of how they threw out the majority of the proposed amendments by the public that were thrown out the window. I called the commissioner to have a conversation, and I told him we have a proposed amendment to make the sheriff an appointed position. He goes, "Oh my God, can you swing?" He's pretty concerned that you guys want to make sheriff an appointed position. This guy understands the importance of having an elected sheriff. This is a gay man, kind of hard to believe, right? This commission needs to stop exploiting people and victimizing them as their excuse to push their communist agenda forward. We don't need gender ideologies for some kids or us. We shouldn't be seeing vials of testosterone in a Pride Month display at the Grand Housen High School. All this ridiculous stuff needs to stop. Thank you. Eric Burkhead, and then Ian Armstrong and Carol Sue Brayton.
Good evening. I'm Eric Burkhead. My wife and I have been citizens of Puyallup for 45 plus years now. We've raised all 3 of our children here. They've been through the Puyallup schools. And so I've had quite a few years to observe law enforcement, both in Puyallup and Pierce County. I'm speaking in opposition of C1 and C30. And with regard to C1, it seems to me like if we want to have a constitutional sheriff, then we need to elect them. If they're appointed, they just become a political appointee, and that's quite a bit different than a constitutional sheriff. with regard to the oversight is good. I've worked for a couple public works, the Pierce County Library System, the State Department of Transportation. All those operations are subject to audit by the state auditor, the Washington State Auditor. And as I understand it, our Sheriff's Department is subject to audit by the state auditor. Consequently, the language of the Ombudsman proposal, C30, really looks like a duplication to me and may actually slow things down rather than speed things up. So I ask you to seriously consider not taking forward C1 and C30.
All right, Ian Armstrong, Carol Sue Brayton, and Liz Mulligan.
All right, Ian Armstrong, District 7. Wow, what a presentation by the court system. It is a fundamental part of all of our governments that the different sections of the government be just that, sections of the government. Proposal to have oversight of one section of the government from another section of the government, especially the judicial system, which has always been completely separate. You know, you've had executive and you've had executive oversight of the rest of the government, but you've never had the judicial system have oversight from the executive. That's just wow. I can't believe that C18 made it all this way, and I didn't even notice that. Congratulations, you guys have outdone yourself yet again. That one can't pass. Period. The rumor has it that apparently we're running out of money for these meetings. Hilarious. In that every one of our proposals, well, damn near every one of our proposals is going to cost money. And we don't even have enough money to run all of our meetings. We don't have enough money to allow our staff to work on things during the day because they have other jobs. I mean, come on. Let's stop trying to spend the money that we don't have and just go ahead and say no to like 95% of all of these amendments. Thank you.
Carol?
Carol Sue Brayton, 5th District. C1, no. C2, no. C6, no. C18, no. The judges explained it all. C23, no. C25, yes. C28. C29, no. C30, no. Yes on the initiatives, and we'll go back to the other. First of all, you better look at the qualifications of your current sheriff. If you can't meet and exceed that, then you're not going to go anywhere. I looked at him before he even ran for office. And his credentials. So, also, appointed sheriff, if you wanted appointed, people could have run a referendum or whatever against him to recall him. He hasn't been recalled because you can't get enough people to sign it, to even get it on the ballot. Drop it, please. The cost alone is ridiculous. Do not pass the C18. I think the judge is self-explanatory and their information was extensive. I'm also looking at an ombudsman. What is it going to cost? We don't have the money. You have long-term care that is needed in this county. That needs an ombudsman. You already have that. Don't spend any more money you do not have. Initiative signature gathering. We need more time to be able to gather signatures, but not lower the bar of the signatures. So we need to take a look at what we're proposing and how we're proposing it and the cost to the people, and it's going to last 10 years. Now, I have been personally asked that people would extend a forms for the sheriff's office to be
Karen.
Blunt. Thank you.
Briz, and then Yoni Kazdani?
Yes.
Kaczynski, thank you. I've got a little.
Oh, my bad handwriting.
Members of the Commission, I am Riz from District 7. I'm here to speak in favor of C1, C11, and C23. In addition, I recommend sending to us a vote O1 and O2. It's a nice way to tidy up our charter and to make it more transparent. Lastly, I implore this Commission to support C18. While jurisdiction of the juvenile detention system is with the courts, it is not a matter of trespass of separation of powers to create an independent body to review its practices. Any organ of government should not be held accountable to itself. On such, a true democracy must have, at times, a healthy check to ensure that all are treated equally and that all have true justice served. I also humbly request this Commission to reject fear. Over the course of this Commission and hearings, we have all heard from a vocal contention that espouses fear of others, fear of the government, fear of accountability. But in truth, it is truly fear of change. Change is good. It is inevitable. We learn from our past to inform our future, to guide a better world for us all. So I ask this Commission to truly look for the serving of us, the voters, all persons here, and seek justice. Not what the law says, but justice. Law and justice do not equal each other. Thank you.
Yoni, and then Gwendolyn Marsh.
Hello, so I want to speak against C1. I think a better thing is we should have a youth sheriff that actually supersedes the sheriff so that all youth voices be represented. Because I think, it'd be good if we have, 12-year-olds decide who's in jail and who's not, or 12-year-olds, enforce the law. But I think that's kind of the ideas of what's going on here. I think it's kind of along those lines. So I think it'd be really cool if you had a 12-year-old in charge. Maybe like an 11 and a half. And then every birthday they can choose to have their friend, only their best friend though, from the sheriff's office. And so I think that'd be a really good enhancement to make sure that all people, no matter what their background, their intellectual abilities, it doesn't matter because we need all voices heard, especially the youths. So I'm, fully against the C1, but a way to enhance it would be to replace it with C1Y, which is C1 for the youth sheriff. And I think that'd be a really good thing for Pierce County. I think that King County should do it too, actually. The whole country should do it. So, I'm here speaking against C1 and a whole bunch of other stuff on here, like the ombuds. I don't remember what that one is, but we should make a youth sheriff, youth ombuds. Let's say youth. So, I know I was really intelligent in my youth, so I think that would be great to have more youths have their voices represented. Maybe a youth governor as well would be really cool. A youth governor, a youth attorney general, and a youth president would be really cool too. So I'm speaking here against C1, like I said, and just want to provide the council with some other recommendations. So maybe 10 years from now you'll remember this and you'll put that on the thing. And I just really do appreciate the time. I know sometimes there's technical difficulties here, and I wish the food was provided to us too, because I'm kind of thirsty. I could use a glass of ice right now. So, thank you so much, and have a great day.
Gwendolyn Marsh, and then Jeff Baylor, and then Cam Johnson.
Hi, I'm Gwendolyn Marsh. I'm from District 5, and I'd like to speak in favor of C1. Regardless of Keith Swank's abilities as a person, I don't think it's the job for sheriffs to be independently elected. Their job is to carry out the law as written, not decide what they think the law ought to be. That's the job of the commission and the legislature. It's not the job of the sheriff. I'd also like to speak in favor of C2. We don't need ICE goons running around here, and we don't need our people helping them terrorize our neighbors. That's not something we should be doing. I'd like to speak in favor of C18. I think the judges don't want their toes getting stepped on, but too bad. You know, having oversight is important and it's good. It does not give the executive total control over anything. It doesn't violate any laws, just provides oversight, and I think that's important. I'd like to speak in favor of C30, a sheriff ombuds to investigate corruption. I think that's unlikely to cost us money. I think it'll save us money. Most sheriff departments that aren't overseen tend to be very corrupt and waste a lot of money, so this will probably find a lot of savings. I'd also like to speak in favor of C36. I mean, are we going based off of language we used in 1500? Like, language changes, the way we need to update with the times, and it's important not to fall behind. And I'd like to speak in favor of C29. There's no reason not to have it. Getting youth involved with governance is important, and student governance is not the same thing as being involved with actual governance. So anyway, thank you.
Jeff, and then Cam. And then that concludes what the comment in the room tonight.
Hello, everybody. My name's Jeff Bowen from District 2. And now I've done extensive research on the charter, looking things up. And I've discovered the secret book of the charter, which contains the secret rules that you all can do and the things you can force upon us as citizens. None of it good. And plenty of history point to the true corruption of the Charter Commission. Now, first and foremost, some of the history. Things that we can blame the charter on. I would go the Hindenburg. Some documents show. Further, the Tacoma Bridge disaster was a result of the Charter Commission. Then, Kurt Cobain. While many think it was suicide, it was linked back to the Charter Commission. And finally, of course, ska music, the worst of all. So, there are many things that the Charter can be blamed for. Furthermore, the powers you all have, as we've seen some people discuss, you're going to be able to force all of us to do pronouns. But it goes further. You can turn every citizen in the county gay. It's a secret power. And now here are the people, though, there are certain people, though, outlined within the Charter who can feel it early. They feel it in their loins, such as our sheriff. He's feeling the impacts of you all trying to turn us gay already. And that's why he's fighting the fight that he is fighting. And which also gets into what I think we need to do, which is pass C1. Because that's the only way you can remove the curse that our sheriff is facing. And the feelings that he just doesn't understand how to cope with. Because it's awkward for some people as they grow older and they start to feel different things that they weren't expecting before. But as stated, it's within here, the secret book of the Charter. And I encourage all to read it. And I encourage a yes vote on C1. Thank you so much.
Cam, and then that concludes public comment as I have it on my list.
Hello, my name is Cam Johnston from District 7. I'd say no on C1 for obvious reasons. People want to vote for their elected officials. People want to vote for the people that are going to be in charge of them, whether it's law enforcement or any other capacity. I think there's also just no precedent for it in the state because every other county also elects their sheriffs. So for us to do that would, I don't think it would be revolutionary or anything very cool. It would just be kind of a step in the wrong direction. I mean, at least 52%, whatever percent voted for Sheriff Swank, I mean, it's going to be pretty split, So I think that's one thing. But also, I just wanted to make a comment that there was a commissioner that spoke at a class. I attend UW, and it gave some insight into how, that list was last quarter, but they gave some insight into how the language can be, the language is a huge part of it. How basically there's ways to make the bill palatable and make the bill kind of imperceptible and make it kind of deceptive either through jargon or other means. So ideally we would have a clear bill that clearly states what the actual effect of having an appointed sheriff would be namely, obviously not being able to vote for your sheriff. And then two, just to give kind of a steel man, I was told that there is precedence in other states for this, and that it kind of allows the opportunity for a greater selection of sheriffs throughout the nation, because you have a whole nation to choose from rather than a local election. But that also gives you, as the commission, the opportunity to select whoever fits your specific agenda, your specific wants and needs at that time. So it can be really hyper-specific, and there can continue to be kind of a leftist hegemony as there currently is in the county.
All right, that concludes public comment in the room tonight, and we'll move on to comment online. For anyone online, we will call your name, and then please unmute, and you'll have 2 minutes. And do raise your hand virtually if you'd like to speak. So the first person I see is John.